Yeah, I'ma talk about everything you like. I'ma make it real quick, cause it's Tynee Talks. And I'ma talk about it. Yeah, cause it's Tynee Talks. And I'ma talk about it. And welcome to the Tynee Talks podcast, the podcast that educates and entertains, the podcast where you come to laugh and learn. I am your host, Tynee, and I have a very special show and guest with me today. I will be talking to author and founder of My Royal Press.
Royalty Press.
Royalty Press,
Yes.
Ren Lowe. And she is the author of My Magical Brown Unicorn. But before we get into talking with Ren, I would be remiss to not mention our show sponsor, 810 Taco Seasoning. This show is brought to you by 810tacos.com. 810 Tacos is packed with flavor and low in sodium. Visit 810tacos.com and use code Tynee Talks Tacos, and you'll receive 20% off your order of anything over $20. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest, author Ren Lowe.
Hello.
Welcome, Ren.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
I was saying thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show today. And Ren and I go way back. She is a native of Flint, Michigan, and she currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia. She got her start in the entertainment industry as a singer/actress. But after she had her daughter, Cameron, she wanted to tap into her childhood dream of becoming a book author, a children's book author. And so I'm going to let Ren, get more into that story. But I want to talk about today's show being entitled Finding Your Magic, because sometimes it is hard to find your magic when everything around you is not magical. And she created this book entitled my Magical Brown Unicorn, and we know there's a lot of unicorn books out there in the world out there right now. But the beautiful thing about a unicorn is that a unicorn stands out from the others. And so I want to ask Ren today, I want you to tell the guests a little bit about yourself and how you got into books. But my first question is, how do you navigate the oversaturation of particularly a particular market when we know there are so many unicorns out there? How does my brown magical unicorn stand out above the rest?
That is such a great question. And I must say thank you for having me here and sharing your platform to even give me a voice to speak to the people. And such a great question of how do you find your magic or your thing in a like you said, in a genre, in a niche that is so saturated.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I would implore people to understand is that there is no one like you. You can have 1,000 people doing the same thing, and those individuals are not going to do it the same because we are unique. There is no one that is created like you. There's uniqueness in our DNA. And I feel like that comes out in our creativity. Creativity, anything that has to do with any type of artistic flow, I really believe that there's a certain DNA in that. Bring to that as well. So and so that is what made me confident in saying, hey, I'm going to write it, because for one, let's talk about, there's so many children's books out there, right?
Oh, tons.
When you get to the unicorns, there's so many, right? So it's like, okay, you want to write some children's books? All right, cool. And then on top of that, to pick, like you said, one of the most saturated things to write about characters, children love unicorns. But I knew that no one could write a story like me. Mm-hmm. No one could write a story about brown unicorns like me. And then my daughter, who is my co-author, nobody has a daughter like mine. Nobody has a Cam, and so she really brings that extra special uniqueness to the stories, because she truly actually helps me write each of these stories that is in this particular book series. And so, yeah, I knew that this was something that was going to be special because of those elements. And just, again, remembering like nobody is like you. You're going to add something special that nobody else can add, no matter if it looks similar or not. So that is what really helped me build up that confidence to be like, listen, we are doing this, you know?
Yes, that's right.
And so, yeah, and there's not a lot of brown unicorns around, even though in the world of magic and fairy tales and things of that nature, now we are starting to see more representation. But, you know, 3 or 4 brands is not enough. Like, you know, like it's not enough. So, yeah, so we're going to continue building it. We're going to continue growing. I hope I see more brown unicorns. You're definitely going to see them from me, but I hope
that's right.
You know, people catch on and get inspired, and you know, I don't know, you know, it might be a rapping unicorn.
And you know, I think that it is, you know, you tapped on something. No one has your DNA. Nobody's going to do it like you. Even if you give them the full blueprint, you give them ingredient by ingredient, your individuality will set you apart from it. I like the line where Jay-Z says, nobody built like you. You design yourself.
Yes.
I agree. I said my one of a kind self get every day like Jesus did. You know? But I love that Jay-Z say that, because I used to always say that. I have 50% of my mom's DNA. I have 50% of my dad's DNA, and I have all the power of God within me, right? So that's going to separate me from you and you from me. And even when you hit the bookshelves, there was a quote years ago that I read that it said that when you go down the bread aisle, going down the bread aisle, bread has the same ingredients, baby. Some wheat. That's the key ingredient. Some wheat and so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure if you don't matter the brand, Wonder Bread or Nature's Bread, they all have the same pretty much ingredients. But people like what they like. They shot with what they shot with. And none of those bread companies, King's Hawaiian, they got a little extra love. They got an extra little brown unicorn in that King's Hawaiian.
Yes, they do. They do.
But you know, that didn't stop them from putting their bread on the shelf in the bread aisle. And I think that's what you did with My Magical Brown Unicorn, and even starting your own publishing company. You being a woman out of Flint, Michigan, that's not something that you hear often, that, hey, I'm going to go and start my own publishing company. And we got a lot of authors. We got a lot of stories to tell. We got a lot of street novels.
Yes.
In Flint. We got a lot of, you know, just different types of books. But you know, we got a few authors tapping into the children's book market, like Latasha Perry, and of course, author Ren Lowe. So before you got into publishing and helping little girls and little boys around the globe find their magic within the unicorn within them, because unicorns and the sea of horses going to stand out among the rest, right? You were a singer / actress. So tell us a little bit about how you know, were pursuing that and then pivoted. I know you had a daughter, and that, you know, contributed to you wanting to tap into that talent. But how did you go from singing, actress, and then pivoting?
Yes, that's a great question. So, I always had a passion for writing. However, I discovered, I guess my parents discovered, that I could sing when I was about like 5 years old. So at the early age of 5 years old, I'm this little thing singing in the choir. And I remember like wanting to lead a song. And because of my age, the choir director was kind of like, and I'm like, no, I want to sing a song. And so
you're gonna let me sing.
You're gonna let me sing this. Okay. So I got my little Tina Turner on and sung This Little Light of Mine. Like, that's the first.
I really want, but the audience doesn't know. But I know. She is being real modest, but kind of not modest, because baby, she was Tina Turner and up in there. Y'all, if y'all ever seen What's Love Got to Do with It, a little Tina outshining everybody. That is Korean.
Yes.
Ren Lowe was out here singing. Okay. Okay. I had to let them know that because you was out here tearing it up. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, it is so funny because like that is literally what I was like, okay, you know what? This is my moment. I'm gonna show these people I know how to sing, you know. And so the other kids in the choir was kind of looking at me like, you know, and I was like, hey, this is my moment. I don't know what y'all 5 and 6 year olds are doing, but, you know, this is my
Like
moment.
mother, like daughter.
Yeah.
Well, y'all gonna learn about Cameron a little
Yes,
later.
you're gonna learn about Karen. And so that's really where like it started. And so I really loved singing. But I also remember, unfortunately, I experienced loss at a very young age. When I was about 6 years old, one of my childhood friends passed away, and so I wanted to speak at his services, and I wrote a poem. I remember writing a poem and me walking myself up to this podium and saying this poem, and people were just like, "Oh my goodness!" And so there was that kind of battle between writing and singing, because at the time, you know, nobody's looking like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be a great poet. You know, they heard the voice, and so they were like, oh my goodness, she can sing. And you know, when you grow up in a household, you know, that church going, God fearing household, if you can sing or do anything like that, you're supposed to do it for the Lord. Like that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Period.
Period. That's it.
You don't love God if you ain't doing it for God.
If you
You're
ain't doing
doing secular things.
Listen, if you ain't listening, so that is what, you know, my understanding was that, okay, I'm supposed to sing and I'm supposed to use this gift and sing for the Lord. So I became, like, at a very young age, I became the wedding singer and the funeral singer. Like, literally everybody that transitioned in my family. I'm talking about from a young age. I'm talking about like 10, 12 years old singing at, you know, and it was, I don't know if that like kind of did something for me, like took a little bit of the excitement out of it. But what I do know is that in 4th grade, my teacher introduced us to journaling. And because you know some of my background, you know, we experience life very early as children, real life situations as children. So experiencing life at a very early age, writing was my outlet. It gave me the power to say the things that I wanted to say without sounding disrespectful. Nobody could tell me what to write. Nobody could minimize my feelings or tell me, "Oh, you too young." No, I do understand. And so I began to write and journal, and then in the midst of that, you know, just my creativity flowed. I always was like this bubbly, colorful person with this vivid imagination. So in the midst of me journaling, I would create worlds for myself. If it was something that I didn't have or I desired, I would create a children's story about it and put myself in there as if I had it and it existed. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with writing at 9 years old. But again, singing was pushed into the forefront. So that's just what I did. I pursued. So I wrote on my own time. I wrote every day, but I pursued music to the point where I began to write my own songs.
I want to kind of tap into, you kind of mentioned our upbringing and growing up early and experiencing loss at 6 years old, and coming from where we come from. The kid you were just playing hopscotch with could be murdered,
could be gone
by the weekend.
Yeah, could be gone. Yes.
And it could be gone. And so finding your magic in the midst of adversity. How important is it for you to share that the magic of resilience?
Yes. Okay, you better come on. Listen.
Resilience is so magical.
Yes.
Because you know that unicorn could get buried under some dirt after all that tragedy, loss. But yeah, you still found a way to smile and, like you said, create worlds. Yes. And I think people like you and I do that. People wonder when I share my story, because I have such a smile on my face all the time. They're like, my nail tech actually pointed it out to me. She was like, "You've been through a lot."
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't I
You
guess
don't
I
look at it
don't
like
look at
that.
it like that, right? Because like to
I'm
your
not.
point, building these worlds, like so I would do it, we both did theater and acting. Like you
Yes.
said, I'd be acting, I would put myself in the shoes of the people on the TV
Yes.
or in my books. I'm a heavy book reader. If you notice on Tynee Talks, I have a lot of authors
Mm-hmm.
because I've always dig deep into the books and go into the characters, and they traveled somewhere, so I travel a lot because I want to go to the places that they mentioned in the book that they traveled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So can you talk about the magic of resilience?
Yes.
And
That is beautifully put, the magic of resilience, because being resilient is magical. But magic it won't always appear pretty. It won't always appear beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But there is magic in being resilient. And I think that it really boils back down to it takes a village, right? And every situation is different. So I grew up in a 2-parent household, right?
Mhm.
And so my mother and father were not oblivious to the things that were going on around, us, and the things that we were experiencing. But I really think my mother did a great job of continuing to be like, hey, all because we're in this situation, that does not mean it has to define you. And then it goes back to the education system,
Mhm.
having individuals who you're going to spend like 8 hours a day with, 5 days a week, also reiterating that. And we grew up in a time where there was still boys and girls clubs, and there were still some, upward bound, and
Yeah.
certain things where you had community that was still trying to help us see and find our magic in the midst of
Mhm.
chaos, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so like we know it, because I love reading and I love movies. We know chaos is just mishandled magic, right? It's
Say it again.
Yes, chaos is just mishandled magic. That's all it, that is all it is. So those individuals trying to help us hone that and be like, let me show you how to use this,
Mm.
So that is where I feel like the resilience comes from, because it's like, it's not always gonna be rainbows and sunshine and things of that.
And unicorns.
And right? But that don't stop you
Yeah.
from being that unicorn and being able to create, you know what I'm saying, the sunshine and the rainbow. Sometimes it doesn't appear. Sometimes you got to create it. And so I think that it does boil back down to having a village.
Mhm.
Or like you said, relating to things that you see, being like,
Mhm.
okay, you know what, I don't have a strong circle, but that one teacher that gave that child that hug that day and was like, you know
Mhm.
what, that one hug changed my life. So it could literally be that one person. So that is what I try to be for others. That is what I try to plant, that seed in every book that I write, in the words that I say and how I handle people. But yes, the magic of being resilient, I really believe it's planted within your community
Mhm.
and within your village, because sometimes it's not easy to just change your situation. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's not easy to just get out. Like, people
Mhm.
say these real cliche things. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
If surround yourself with people who you want to be like. Well,
Yeah.
if I want to be a multimillionaire, tell me, how do I get in the room with the multimillionaires that are not gatekeepers, who are really gonna show? So that sound good. That all.
It just sound real. Ren Lowe. I wanted to throw my phone at you about 4 times because you speak it on it.
Yes.
Listen, yes. Number one,
Mhm.
when you said magic is a mishandled chaos,
Yes.
throw it on a t-shirt because
Thank you, Lord. That was a download. That came straight
that was
from
a down. Let me
Yes.
tell you something, because this podcast is going to help someone.
Yes.
But I always say that, right? I always think about street pharmacists,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Street pharmacists have chaos, mishandle magic.
Yes.
These people are accountants,
Yes.
financial gurus,
Yes.
CEOs,
Most definitely.
leaders.
They are moguls. They are leaders. They are business moguls.
They are organization. There's a degree called organizational leadership.
That is,
Baby, they have it. It is mishandled chaos, that is mishandled magic,
yes.
because they can't see beyond their circles, because they're not in those rooms, right, where
Yes.
people are telling them, because maybe they don't look the part or walk the part. And I just love now us millennials and the Gen Zers are breaking the norm, right? We're
Yes.
breaking it down. We're sprinkling in our magic, saying that success doesn't look one way.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to look like this. It doesn't have to be the suit on. It doesn't have to be straightened hair. It doesn't have to look this way. It's going to be so unique, like the brown magical unicorn that you write about.
Yes.
That's how unique it is.
Yes, yes. And you know what? And I love that you said that, because that is really what it boils down to. Yes, we created the book series, but My Magical Brown Unicorn is also a brand, and it's continuing to grow. And one of the things that I just really, really, really wanted to emphasize is that, like you said, like, we all have that magic in us. Like, we literally all have that magic in us. One of the things that I'm very intentional, a child might not be able to perceive it or conceptualize it while reading the book, but I'm very intentional with certain things that I put even into the children's books. And one of the things is the importance of independent play. In the first book, the main character, named after my daughter Cam, her friends are all busy and they cannot come out to play, right? Sometimes we are in those places in life where we just all by ourselves. It's not because, listen, and it ain't nobody's fault. There's nobody, like, a child that can come out to play, that's their parents' decision. The child can't be defiant and be like, yeah, I'm going to come play with you, right? Sometimes we find ourselves in situations in life where we are all by ourselves, and it is nobody's fault. It is literally just life. It is literally how, and it's like, well, what do you do with it? And what does Cam do? She's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to put on my magical headband and I'm going to go on an adventure with my magical brown unicorn.
Yeah.
Ren,
I love that, because for a long time, Cameron was an only child, and I have an only child. And it's something about those only children. You had Calvin. I had to throw Calvin in there because I know you ain't going to do nothing in this world without mentioning Calvin. You had Calvin. Calvin's her big brother audience.
Yes.
And, you could, throw ideas and bounce ideas and run the hinky dinky and do whatever you needed to do. It's built in. Those single children, they have to, like you said, Cam gonna go put on her tiara and be magical, and AJ was gonna throw on all his costumes.
Yes,
you've seen it. And something about those only children, they teach us a lot. They teach us how to be alone. Like you said, sometimes we're in the season of loneliness or alone. And loneliness means you're lacking something, but sometimes you're in the season just of being alone.
Yes.
And it's not lonely. You're not lonely.
You're not
just
alone.
And those only children show you how to do that. They show you how to find your magic because they are their own best friend.
They are they are content and they are happy and optimistic. Very optimistic. They're critical thinkers. They will find a way to get it done. Like, okay, well, you said I can't do it like this. Well, then I'm going to do it like this, So they do. They teach us a lot, like you said, about being alone and navigating through spaces alone and understanding that is okay and that it's not always a bad thing. It's not. We, like you said, those are just seasons, and that is going back into, like you said, tapping into your magic. And even with the this is one of the things that was very important to me. Like, even when it came to like the rainbows and the colors, right? We know that all of the colors mixed together make brown. So Yeah, yes, all of the colors mixed together make brown, and so I was very intentional, like you said, about like it wasn't. I want people to know that this wasn't like a gimmick or a cliche, like, oh my goodness, there's no brown unicorn, so let me make a brown unicorn. Like, no, it was very thoughtful, and so even with like our rainbows and things of that nature, and I'm kind of giving away some stuff for the future books to come, but it's like, but that is even where the brown unicorns came from. And it's like, so I wanted to make something beautiful, but then without ostracizing anything else or kind of negating or being like, oh, that's irrelevant. No, let me tie it in for you and let me really show you, like, listen, so all of the other beautiful unicorns and the different colors in the rainbow came from this one. So we're still all tied into together, but we got to know where we come from, to know where we
know where we're going.
And so some origin to our unicorns and our brown unicorns, and really to highlight and to try to bring it into the adult realm. Like, hey, it starts with us, especially for my Black and brown people, to be honest and not feeling the need to apologize. I'm not apologizing for that. I exist in this world. I'm a Black woman. I'm beautiful. There are some things that are just, undisputed, where things start from and where things come from. And that's okay. And it's not to make anyone else feel
inferior.
Exactly. It's just the truth. And sometimes, we dumb ourselves down or hide our truth in order to not make others feel inferior. But what I notice is that sometimes we're one of the only cultures and ethnicities to do that. And I don't want my daughter to do that. I don't want my children to do that. I don't want her friends, that look like her, to do that. So that is another reason why I was like, hey, we got to have these brown unicorns.
Yeah.
We got to have these brown unicorns.
I want to kind of shift a little bit.
Yes.
You're here now. You're winning. You're award winning. You're featured everywhere. You're on Tynee Talks.
Yes. I've been waiting to get here. I was taking my time. I was like, it's going to happen, Jesus. It's going to happen.
God made a way. And so you're here now. But before you got here, I know there was a lot of no's.
Yes.
It wasn't always yes.
Not at all.
So how do you continue to remain open to possibilities after no's, rejection, and self-doubt?
Yes, because all of those things happen. And I love what you said about the self-doubt. People think that people that they view as successful or that have achieved a certain level, that they don't doubt or that they don't experience like the imposter syndrome. Like I am literally every day I have to remind myself that I deserve this. And that has, I think, a lot to do with environment and things of that nature, so I have to remind myself, like, listen, you deserve this. You worked for this. You deserve this. And that is one of the things that I feel like has kept me going. It's like, listen, you deserve good things. And, while I have, I grew up in a very religious household. And even though I have veered off from religion, I'm very spiritual. So I cannot negate my background and understanding that for me, the promises that God told me, that the word says he would give me the desires of my heart,
Your will.
And the thing that we were missing was the timing though. He ain't say when. And that's why I was like, okay, I thought this was supposed to, I thought I was supposed to have this idea and I work a little bit and then it's going to happen. So I think that's where the discouragement comes in and the self, because it's like, you wouldn't give me this to tease me. I don't have these gifts and talents and these ideas just to be tortured, but it's that win,
You see me shifting in my seat.
Listen.
You see me is shifting over here. Because you're speaking of word, everything is in alignment.
Yes.
I just spoke to a few girls a few weeks ago, because that's what I asked God. I want to speak more. Tynee Talks. Tynee need to be out here talking
to the
right.
Yes.
And just like you, I have to encourage myself because sometimes you feel like we talk about oversaturating. Am I posting too much? Does it look like I'm bragging a little bit? I gotta tell myself it's okay. How else do you get out there if you don't put it out there yourself? Exactly. Nobody gonna promote you like you.
Like you, yes.
And but the timing. Mm-hmm. So I spoke to a group of girls, and yes, I also grew up in a religious household, spiritual household, and the power of writing things down. You said journal. Every time, I look back in my prayer journals. I have several of them dating back to 25 years ago.
Yes.
Everything that I've written, because we are powerful. We are magical. That's the thing. We don't realize how magical we are. We don't realize how this
thing. It is.
My pastor used to call it the little pink weapon.
Yes.
The power of life and death is in the tongue.
In the tongue.
We say it all the time, but we have a form of godliness, but not believing in the power thereof.
Yes. Yes.
And it is very true about what we say with this. If we say I'm ugly, I'm ugly. If we say I'm broke, I'm broke. But if I say I am rich, I am rich. It's going to come. Yes. I saw the other day you posted on social media, enlarge my territory.
Yes.
And sometimes that enlarging my territory, what we asking for, may not happen at that moment. We might not be ready. We got to go through the rejections, the no's, the self-doubt to get to the place of understanding. But when speaking with these young ladies, and we talk about time and writing things down, journaling, being magical brown unicorns.
Yes.
The word says, write the vision.
And make it plain.
Make it plain. And what we always fail to sometimes leave off is at its appointed time. Yes. It shall come to pass. So that's the timing, right? At its appointed time. It's going to come, but not in your time. In the time that is.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
In the time that is most valuable and at the time that is most needed.
Yes. Yes. And it might not look like what you thought it was going to look like. So I used to always say this. I used to say, I knew that I had many gifts and talents, and I didn't realize what I was saying until I became so I got in my 30s, and I would always say, I don't care how it comes. I used to always say, I want the wealth. I don't care about the fame. I don't care how it comes. I don't care what comes first. And it's like, sometimes we have it in our head what it's supposed to look like. And God didn't say it's gonna look like this. Like you said, I said it's gonna happen. And we have this idea of how it's going to happen and what it's going to look like when it unfolds. And it's like, I didn't tell you that. And it's kind of like how we say we create expectations for people that they didn't agree to. God, I didn't say that.
Say it again.
That for others that they did not agree to, and then we disappoint ourselves, and we think that they're disappointing us, but they didn't disappoint us. We disappointed ourselves because we created an expectation for them that they did not agree to. And it's the same thing with God. He's like, I didn't say that. But that is why it is also important when we get back to speaking to the magic, right? And I know, in the spiritual realm, this word magic can be some type of taboo. People don't believe in using the word magic, but I believe that words are very synonymous and they mean the same thing. But we are in a world where everybody wants to be right and they want it done their way, and only if it's their way. That's the only way to the kingdom, or that's the only way that is right, But God says that he gave us not the spirit of fear, but of love and what?
A power and of a sound mind.
Yes. And power. Power is synonymous with magic. Lord, you telling me I'm powerful. So so I can be powerful, but I can't use the word magic. So if I'm powerful, I'm not magical.
They ain't gonna like it, Ren.
They ain't gonna like it, but it's okay. I told God, he gave me the opportunity.
But it's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Listen, and let me say this right here on this platform, so they hear it first.
Where you at? Where you located?
Tynee Talks. Okay.
On the Tynee Talks podcast.
On the Tynee Talks podcast. Listen, you heard it here first. I am a firm believer. I believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So y'all heard that, right? Listen, and I 100% that God put tools here for us to use to tap into our magic. I serve no other God but the one and true only living God, okay? And I 100% believe that I am magical.
And I 100%, And I 100% believe that you are magical.
Yeah, and listen, and this is my prayer. This is my prayer that I pray. God, protect me against myself. If it's not right, if it's not right, then I 100% believe that God will show me that it's not right. God will 100% be like, that's not the path to walk down, because he don't have respect of man. And if Abraham walked and talked with God, he gonna walk and talk with Ren. We gonna have a conversation just like Abraham. It said Abraham bargained with the Lord. Okay, don't let me listen. I know this ain't that. I know this is not that. But it said Abraham bargained with God. Do not tell me that. I firmly and 100% believe that if there's something that I am engaging in or interacting in, and I believe it to be like a gift from God, and it's not, and it was sent, to deter me, that God gonna remove it, because that's my prayer. Lord, protect me from myself and anything. And we can go to Psalms 91. That's my favorite Psalms. That's the Psalms that I live by. He who dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. Like, God he not gonna let me be out here just doing any old thing, you know what I'm saying, and venturing into all kind of craziness if it doesn't align with his will. And so bringing that back to the magic, because I have had people, that say unicorns are not of God and magic is not of God, and think, well, God gave me and my daughter this idea, so that might
be right. And if it wasn't right, it wouldn't be as prosperous.
And two things can be right at the same time.
That's right.
It might not be for you, that because it might not be right for you, because God knew that you would. How there are people who are addicted to they have addictive behaviors. God knew that he couldn't show this to you and reveal it to you in this way because you have an addictive behavior, and you might go off the realm. He showed it to me in a different light. As long as at the end of the day, he gets the glory.
Yeah.
And I'm doing, the will that I'm supposed to walk in. I'm good with it. So yeah, and I just love that. And that goes back to uniqueness. We are all unique. We are all unique in everything that we do, in the way we serve, in the way we praise, in the way we work, in the way we create, and that goes back to that magic. You know what I'm saying? That goes back. And that is what my magical brown unicorn is about. My magical brown unicorn is an idea of realizing that brown unicorns are so magical and so unique, and that no matter what color you are, you have that magic and that uniqueness. So let that be a sign that this magical brown unicorn exists. And if something so unique and so beautiful can exist, do you not think that it can exist within you as well? So that is, I really want people to embody that, because it is really a mindset. So I know we done went.
That's okay. We went all the places we were supposed to go. And so I have a final question.
Yes.
Were you ever afraid? And I think you kind of touched on it, right? But are you afraid to show people your magic?
I am becoming the individual who is not apologetic. At one point in time, yes. It goes back to that. Am I posting too much? Does it sound like I'm bragging? So not anymore. I used to be afraid. I used to be afraid to say, I'm good. I'm good at this. Like, I used to be afraid. It used to be that, I am still learning how to accept compliments.
And I want to pause right there, because I just saw a video where it was teaching people how to accept compliments, because we are self-deprecating or with ourselves, right? So if someone says, that's a nice shirt, you say, oh, this old thing,
right? Instead of saying this for years,
instead of saying thank you.
Yes,
I like it too.
Thank you so much. Yes, like and for me, and this is just my experience. For me, that is why I really had to speak spirituality and break away from indoctrine, because like most individuals, I believe, who grew up around very religious indoctrine do's and don'ts, it's we are taught to be humble, right? But we were not explained what humble meant. So humble to us was, okay, you know, I grew up in that household. I couldn't wear makeup. I couldn't wear pants.
It was intense over there.
Very intense. Okay. Yeah. No jewelry. No
but
makeup.
we love us some Uncarry, but it was
Listen, mama, yes, she loved us back. Okay. She loved us back. But like when it came to the religious portion, and so we are taught to, like you said, be humble. And so even from a young girl, when people are, oh my God, you sang so good, my response was, pray for me. Like, oh, thank you. Just keep praying.
So odd.
So, like weird. And it felt weird. Like it felt weird. You know, like I don't know if I'm supposed to say thank you. And then if I do say thank you, is that me taking away glory from God? Or it would be like, oh, praise God. Oh, you did this. So, oh, praise God. Thank you. Like, you know, like, and so that really is where it stemmed for me from, you know, and God said he would make us the head and not the tail. So clearly we are supposed to be observed at the top, you know, and there's nothing wrong with those things. And so I'm learning, but that is where it stemmed at from me, for me. And I'm learning. I am learning to be like, girl, you are good. Like you're not just good, you're great. Like you are great at what you do. And I can encourage everybody else. But it's like when they say encourage yourself, sometimes you gotta
encourage it. Maybe true words have never been spoken or written.
Yeah. Oh, you have to encourage yourself. And I heard this saying in a different kind of situation, but I heard somebody say, hey, you got to believe it in your heart and in your mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to believe it in your heart and in your mind. And so, yes, I'm learning. I am learning. I am learning. And I am learning that the things that I desired were real. Like it wasn't just a oh, like that little hope one day, right? Like no, like that burning desire that you are breaking generational curses and that you are going to have that abundance to help others, that has been living with inside of me since I've been a young girl. And it's like, oh, you wasn't crazy. You wasn't just, you know, being extra, you know. You weren't just being extra, you know, like
look, Cardi said, and I love me some Cardi B. Cardi B said, I do the most because y'all don't do enough.
Because y'all don't do enough.
And baby, I'm standing on it.
Yeah, look, because y'all don't do enough. Like, you know, yes, and most definitely, like, you know, and that is so funny that you say that, because just thinking about, like, you know, I sing, and when people be like, who is your favorite artist? All my favorite artists are rap artists. Like, I don't have a favorite.
Yes, singer. I love a rapper.
give me the rapper all day. Like, they're gonna be like, who is? And it's funny, like, I would go into the studio and sing, they'd be like, oh, who are you inspired? Don't get me wrong, I love music, I love singers, but when I could not point out a favorite, you know what I'm saying? Now, if I just had to give somebody their praise for their vocals, then Jasmine Sullivan is my boo. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I don't have that favorite, you know, because I'm a lyricist. But you give me a rapper, I'll be like, did you hear what he said?
Did you hear what he just said on the track?
What he said? You know, like when Jay-Z said, I just made $1 million off a sing, instead of, you know, pretty much risking it all, trying to, you know, make $1 million. I was like, did you hear what he said? Like, did you hear what he said? Like, yes. Like, so, but for me, I am still learning. I'm still embracing that. And yeah, I'm excited about it though, because every day I'm seeing stuff. And so I have to just like exist in the moment. I be like, this is really for real. Like, you know, like
this is really for real.
Like the things that I am imagining they're happening. Like the things that I'm like, yo, you watch, it's gonna happen. Like, and then I turn around and they be like,
right there.
And this is this thing I say all the time. Lord, I knew I wasn't crazy. God, I was not crazy. Like, I knew I wasn't crazy. I'm pretty sure, like, I created you are entertaining, girl. You funny.
All right. So as we are coming to a close, I've enjoyed our talk so much. You are so magical. So my talkers out there, make sure you go purchase my magical brown unicorn. But before we let Miss Ren go, tell me who are the top 5 magical people that you've encountered in your life? They were magical to you and for you.
First and foremost, my mother. Like, my mother gave me so much in the 22 short years that I was able to experience her.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's definitely one. And then, I was blessed to have my father in the household. So my father, because my father has always been self-employed, and that was something that inspired me to get up and get it every day,
Mm-hmm.
Truly magical. My brother, you know what I'm saying? He got to make the list. He is one of the most intelligent individuals that I know, and he is the one who encouraged me to continue to seek knowledge, just to always continue learning, continue growing, expanding your mindset. Let's see here. Number 4, most magical person that I have ever encountered. You know what? This might seem crazy, but Jackie, and I know we both encountered her.
We both experienced her. We experienced her
We
in
experienced
different
her
ways.
different. Yeah, you know what? Listen, she said something though, and in the way that she delivered her message, but she said something and it really stuck with me. And she was critiquing a singer, and she was like, "Hey, I don't care if you sing every note wrong. When you get on here, you own this stage."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yep, I don't care what I do. If I do it, I'm going to own it. I am going to own it. And hey, I'll just have to perfect it as I pursue it." And then other magical person is my mentor. I would really say my mentor, because she is not a gatekeeper. And me really saying that she wants individuals to win makes me want that even so much more. You know what I'm saying? For individuals. So those are the magical, individuals in my life who have really like just boom. If I could name my top 5 right now, just off the top of my head, if I could name the top 5 for where I am now.
Yeah, those were your magical
Yeah.
sprinklers.
Yes.
Your magical sprinklers. You own your own publishing company.
Yes.
And can you tell the audience how they can get with you if they want to produce their own magic?
Yes, if you want to learn how to bring any of your amazing book ideas to life, you are definitely sitting on what could be a bestseller or a book that could change someone else's life, then you can get in contact with me at brownunicornpublishing.com. And we are also on Instagram at brownunicornpublishing.com as well. Book a free consultation with me, and I would love to talk about how my team and I can help you birth your amazing book ideas.
Y'all see it there on the ticker, brownunicornpublishing.com. She can help you bring your story to life, and you can be as magical as her brown unicorn that she created with her daughter, Cameron. It was such a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show today, Ren.
Thank you, Tynee. It was an honor to be here. Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
And where can they publish your book, and where can they follow you on social media?
Yeah, so you can follow me on TikTok at official Ren Lowe author. You can follow me on Instagram at Ren Lowe author. You can follow me on Facebook at Ren Lowe, the children's book author. I am on all platforms. If you look up Ren Lowe author, you will definitely find me. All of my books are available on Amazon.com and online wherever books are sold. Amazon would definitely be the easiest place to find them, but wherever books are sold. And then also check your local libraries and some of your local Barnes and Nobles, Walmarts, and Targets, because they are carried in some local brick and mortars in specific demographics.
You better be international and all.
Yes,
I love it. So be sure to buy it. It is a great gift. I gifted my magical brown unicorn to my nieces, and they love it. They think they are magical because they are.
Because they are.
Great, if it's Christmas time, it's a great stocking stuffer. It's a great birthday gift. It's a great graduation gift from kindergarten, pre-K, 8th grade, high school.
Yes, we got some affirmations up in there too.
It's great for all of that. So give it to the little magical unicorn in your life.
Okay.
And I promise you they won't be disappointed. It's the read that they're gonna want you to read at bedtime. It's gonna be the book that they want you to read when they wake up. So
Yes.
find your magic. And I hope through today's talk that you were able to somehow tap into your own magic, and you're able to sprinkle your magic in whatever industry you're in. If you're in education, if you're in the corporate world, if you are thinking about, hey, I want to start my own book, well, she's here. She told you where to find her, and she's great at what she does. She has testimonials, and I can attest to it. I've known Ren since I was 5 years old,
Yes.
and to see her flourish and blossom into one of her many gifts is a beautiful sight to see. So you go and make sure you see it. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Tynee Talks podcast, the podcast that, where you come to laugh and learn, the podcast that educates and entertain. I hope you're educated today. I know y'all was entertained, because baby, we was entertaining. Until next time.